ABC News senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez, ABC's Jay O'Brien, and ABC's national security and defense analyst, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy, all join me now for more on this. Mick, how significant is this leak?
So, Diane, I think this is the most significant leak of classified information since Edward Snowden back in 2013. These reports, however, are even more current than what he disclosed. And what this causes is significant issues when it comes to collecting intelligence. Our adversaries now know what we know, and they may know how we know it, which puts our human assets at risk, which as a former CIA officer is incredibly troubling. It also, in many ways, causes diplomatic rifts with our allies, who we may be collecting on. And of course, as was mentioned, it can really hamper military planning, particularly when it comes to Ukraine's counteroffensive in the spring.
Jay, what is the White House doing to try to limit the fallout here?
Yeah, the sense we're getting from administration officials, Diane, is that there are three dual tracks happening at once here. The first is that DOJ investigation into how these got leaked. The second track, as Mick was just alluding to, is that ongoing, what you would refer to as a damage assessment. What could have been compromised by the leaking of these documents? We know that the Pentagon is engaged in that. And then the third track is the longest track here, which is rebuilding relationships with allies that we were exposed to be spying on, according to these documents. We also know that the Pentagon has said it's reached out to Congress, it's informed the relevant congressional committees of the steps that it is taking. It is continuing with that damage assessment. But as Mick was just saying, the sense that we get from officials is that this is going to have long-reaching implications, and it's not something that's going to be cleared up by tomorrow or the end of the week or something like that.
Now, Louis, the documents show just how much the U.S. knows about Russian intelligence. So what impact will this have on the war in Ukraine?
Well, Diane, it's going to have an impact, let's say, on what the Russians may do to cover up so that U.S. intelligence doesn't know what they're planning. Some of the documents that were put out on the internet kind of indicate back in time, let's say in early March when they were drafted, they indicated that Russia was planning major attacks in the next 2 days. They had precision about what kind of targets they were aiming for, what kind of weapons might be used. And so that shows you the level of U.S. intelligence, the level of access that the United States has as far as Russian plans. Now, as far as the situation on the ground, yes, the battlefield has changed significantly over the last 5 weeks, so maybe their impact might be lessened. But ultimately, these documents give insights into what's going on the Ukrainian side and what's going on the Russian side.
Mick, what needs to be done to make sure a breach like this doesn't happen again?
So, Dan, I think we're going to have to look at exactly how we handle classified information. The intelligence community already has devices that can store electronic copies. If that device is removed from a certain area, it can erase itself. None of that can happen with paper copies. So we're going to have to look at just why we're printing and whether we should allow these documents to be printed. And then, of course, who should have access? Do we have too many people that have access? These are all things that need to be considered rather quickly so we can avoid any kind of leak like this in the future.
All right, Louis Martinez, Jay O'Brien, Mick Mulroy, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.